Welcome to the Maasto Fitness Podcast. Today, in episode 10, we're going to talk about why you need more than water to stay hydrated, how having sports drink can help you reduce cramping and keep your energy levels up. So, this is a quick hit podcast where we keep them short and to the point, focusing on the things you can do off the bike to race faster and safer. At Maasto Fitness, we work with racers remotely in the real world. Many have a life full of commitments and don't have a lot of time to train off the bike or ride. We provide training so the days on the bike, whether riding or racing, are faster and safer. So, last week we talked about hydration and what it takes to stay properly hydrated for various racing disciplines and hydration needs around those. Plus, what is a sweat rate? Why do you need a sweat rate? How to apply a sweat rate to your hydration needs. So this week we're going to go a bit deeper and we're going to talk about how sports drinks come into play. And so first, I want to say, if you did not listen to last week's episode 9, go back and listen to that one because this is going to build off of this. After recording last week, I realized this could be a really sweet 3-part series. So we're in part 2 of 3. So make sure you go back and listen to episode 9 before you listen to all of this one, episode 10. It'll make a lot more sense and flow a little bit better with your understanding of hydration needs and how sports drinks come into play. So first, what are the components of a sports drink? There's 3 main components: carbohydrates, minerals, and which they call electrolytes. We'll say carbohydrates, electrolytes, and water. So let's break that down deeper, what each of those mean. So first, we'll start with carbohydrate. Essentially, carbohydrate in a sports drink is sugar. It's as simple as that. And in a sports drink, you're looking at about a 4 to 8% ratio of carbohydrates in that sports drink. Now, this ratio is important because 4 to 8% carbohydrate concentration is similar to the amount of sugar naturally found in the blood. So this allows the body to rapidly absorb that fluid and help your body more efficiently pick it up. Now, I say 4 to 8% because there's a range of what has been found to be the most efficient, and different companies interpret that different ways and have different percentages. But essentially, if you're looking at a sports drink off the shelf, it's going to already be mixed at that 4 to 8% because that's the formula. That's how it works the most efficiently. Now, if you go ahead and buy a powdered sports drink, which, like, for example, that's what I do because I go through a ton of sports drink, you're going to want to make sure that you follow the instructions as it says, because each company with their ingredients and the ratio of sports drink to water is going to be different. So it's not always, like, I'm just making this number up, 2 ounces of sports drink mix to 16 ounces of water. It's going to be different for each company. And ultimately, all of them, though, they're looking to have that most efficient rate for you, the ability for your body to pick up that sports nutrition and distribute it to your body to get it to working muscles. So make sure when you're buying a powdered mix to follow the instructions, because that is going to yield you the best results. One thing with sports drinks is we want to empty the gut as quickly as possible. When we're exercising, our heart rate is raised, and with our body, I should back up and say, when we're exercising, we have a raised heart rate, and we have decreased blood flow to our brain, and because everything is going to working muscles. So we want to make sure that our body can use the fluid as quickly and efficiently as we can. Man, I misspoke, but I'll re-say that. So when we're exercising, we have decreased blood flow to our brain and our stomach. I missed out on stomach. That was the most important part. So we have decreased blood flow to our stomach. So it's not as easy for our stomach to digest things. And that's one thing that's really important with these sports drinks, that correct ratio, because if you have too thick of a ratio, like higher than 8%, it's going to sit in your stomach and your stomach's going to have to work harder. So essentially, it's going to take longer. You might end up with some digestion issues, and your body might even have to take some blood away from muscles to your stomach to try to help get that nutrition to your muscles. So make sure you're mixing things at the right ratio. That's what I really missed out on, the important part there, your stomach. So make sure you got the right ratio so your stomach can empty quickly and get that energy to working muscles. Now, next, electrolytes. Like I said, these are essentially minerals. So in a sports drink, you're looking at what it's most likely going to have is sodium, calcium, and potassium. These are key, and these are key minerals for vital functions of our body. These minerals have 2 main functions in a sports drink. So first, help the body absorb the fluid, and then help muscles function. So sodium has some special considerations, and we're going to go deeper into that next week. But essentially, those are its two functions: help working muscles, because those minerals are important in contraction of a muscle, and the sodium helps our body pick up that fluid. And we're going to go, that's going to be episode 3 in this little mini series. Episode 11 next week is going to be all about sodium specifically. So we'll go deeper into that next week. Now, finally, the third component, and this is the biggest component of the sports drink, is water. And that's to rehydrate our bodies as we lose fluid through sweat loss. The water helps keep us going and helps keep organs and muscles functioning at a top level. Simple as that. So those are the 3 main components. We've got the sugar, which is the carbohydrate. We've got the electrolytes, and then we've got water. And those 3 combos, those 3 combined make a sports drink. Now, so for endurance events, we don't want water alone. We want it in combination with those carbohydrates and those electrolytes. That's really important. All 3 for strenuous exercise, I would highly suggest. If you're racing, I would suggest always going for a sports drink to help keep your energy levels up. And this could be motocross, sprint enduro, GNCC, hare scramble, enduro, whatever it may be, 24-hour event. I would suggest sports drink. Water absolutely is fine too, supplementing with some water or having a bit of water, but I would suggest not relying on water, because those minerals and sugars are what's going to help keep you going. So keep that in mind. Think about those considerations when you're planning your racing and what you want to accomplish. Now we'll go a little bit deeper into sports drinks. So with on the sugar end, the carbohydrate end. So an ideal sports drink has sugars coming from multiple sources, and these sugars are dextrose, sucrose, galactose, and fructose. And really, this is how pretty much all sports drinks are. You're not really going to find anything with a single sugar source. So if you're buying it in a powdered form, or you're getting a pack of something that's already pre-filled bottles, if you flip it over and look at that label, I highly doubt you'll find anything from a single source. It's going to be multiple sources of sugars. And essentially, why? Because these enhance performance, help our body become more efficient at picking up that energy and getting it to working muscles, and just yield the best results. Studies after studies have shown that. So all 4 of those are different types of sugars. And if you look on the back of the label, you're more than likely to find some combination of those sugars. Now, this is something I get asked from time to time about sports drinks. Are sports drinks unhealthy? For training and racing, I would say no. I would say for training days, my suggestion is if you're training under 75 minutes, water will do just fine. If you're training over 75 minutes, I think that's where sports drinks really come into play and are crucial. So you can keep that in mind with your own considerations. And then racing, like I kind of went into a minute ago, I think sports drinks are really the way to go to help you perform your best on race day. So with that being said, though, these sugars are made up for your body to quickly retrieve. They're like ready to use sugars. You drink it, your body can quickly absorb these sugars and get it to working muscles, get it to you to keep you going. So I would say in training and in longer training and racing, that's ideal. Day in, day out, I would say not really needed unless you're doing something very strenuous. I think water is a great place to be. So sports drinks do get a bit of a bad rap in terms of being unhealthy. And I would just say it's, in my opinion, unhealthy when not used in the right application. So you can keep that in mind. And then special considerations with sports drinks. I would suggest avoiding any sports drinks with artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Unfortunately, I think this is kind of like you run into this with kind of like the gas station type sports drinks more than anything else. So I'm big on the powdered brands. I keep saying powdered, but I buy a concentrate and mix my sports drinks myself. So I get asked this a lot. So I'll just say my personal favorite sports drinks: 3 brands: Grupo, Scratch Nutrition, and Morton. Those 3 I think are all great brands. Between them all, you got a lot of flavor choices. So depending on your palate and what you enjoy, you can find something that works. Now, oftentimes when an athlete is experimenting with sports drinks, they don't want to invest in a big 20+ mix bag. So my suggestion is go to your local specialty bicycle store or run store and buy some single servings of things that look good, or go to like thefeed.com and buy a sample pack of something. So try out multiple single servings before you invest in the big bag. And then if you turn into like me, you just got tons of big bags of sports nutrition and always have tons of options, because I see a flavor or sometimes a flavor is out of stock. And when it comes back in, I get a bunch of it because I really like it. So I would say, with your sports drinks, make sure you find something that works for you. There's lots of quality brands, but just stay away from anything with those artificial sweeteners, flavors, or dyes. Also, speaking of that, one thing that I have ran into and have read about is fructose in sports drinks. Now, this is not something that affects me, but I've had other athletes had it affect them. And some athletes have problems with fructose in a sports drink. They feel that they get stomach cramps or issues. So I'll say if you're running into stomach cramps with your sports drink, check the label. If it has fructose, that could possibly be one of the reasons. And I would suggest switching to a sports drink that does not and seeing if you get those same results. Now, sports drinks. I think another piece of confusion that I see from time to time is 0-calorie sports drinks. And for us as racers, we need energy, we need fuel. I would say 0-calorie equals 0 energy. So for racing, I would stay away from 0-calorie because it's going to have water and it's probably going to have those electrolytes in it, but it's not going to have any real source of energy of calories to fuel you, keep you energized and going. So I always say 0-calorie, 0 energy. You can just keep it as simple as that. Make sure you're getting something with some calories in it so you can be fueling and continuing on at your best of your ability. Racing's already hard enough. Let's not make it any harder by trying to fuel ourselves off of no calories. So that's kind of going deeper into sports drink. I feel like with brands, it's really important for you to find something that works for you. If you go around the pits at the races, you could probably find 20 people pretty quickly with 20 different opinions on sports drinks. None of those are necessarily the right one for you. You need to find what's right for you. So, for example, at Maasto Fitness, we have tons of resources for our racers about hydration, nutrition, fueling, and it's all built around building a customized plan for them, because I can't just say, hey, you need this many ounces of this drink and you're just going to be perfect. It's not the way it works. The body's very unique. Everyone's unique. And just the palate, just the taste or consistency of things is a big factor. And we got to be able to take it in before races, after races, during races, depending on what we're doing. And if it's not sitting right with you, it's not going to create success. So make sure you're doing what's right for you. Now, next week, we are going to go deeper into how sodium comes into all of this, how sodium helps with reducing cramping, and how sodium helps with our body's ability to absorb water. So we're going to do one all on sodium. So that is it for today. Now, keep in mind, at Maasto Fitness, we work with racers, like I said, remotely in the real world, and we've got tons of guides on fueling, hydration, nutrition, how to better understand your body, and then, of course, the strength training, the mobility training, the endurance training, all built for racers. And if you want to give that a try, send me a message on Instagram and we'll give you a free week.